Absolute bizarre performance from Manchester United. This is absolute nonsense. This should be the worst performance of Manchester United under Michael Carrick, if you ask me. Because how can you tell me you brought in two defensive midfielders according to what you bought? You said it's Telemans and Andre Santos. And you did not know that you cannot start two new players at the same time. There will be no understanding. Instead, if you are starting Telemans, then you are starting Kobe Mino alongside Telemans for now. If you are starting Andre Santos, you are starting Kobe Mino alongside Andre Santos. You need somebody who understands the way this team plays. You cannot start two players you just bought in a game and you want to make progress. You saw that the combination didn't work against AC Milan, yet you still went ahead to do the same mistake against Hull City. Michael Carrick, when will you learn? You see, what killed Manchester United in the game against Hull City was the midfield. You see, apart from the fact that in the first half the wings were not working, none of the wings were working. The top nine, the Matheus Cunha that was played at the top nine, was not really getting the balls. In fact, once they put the ball into the box, there is nobody there because there was no top nine. And the defense were not fast enough. You know, I always say these things. You cannot start Harry Maguire, who is a slow-paced player, alongside another slow-paced player. Eddie Heaven is a young player, yes, but he's not a fast player. So you cannot start Harry Maguire and Eddie Heaven. If you want to start Harry Maguire, you're starting Harry Maguire alongside the likes of Martinez, who have the little space, or you start Delete, or the what's it called? Yes, the Rojo, the young boy Yoro, sorry, who has a little more pace. But starting Maguire and Eddie Heaven was a very big mistake also. Two of them does not have pace, so they couldn't run and close down the Hull City players who were heading in the balls. Because if you watch the tactics they came with, it was 5-4-1. They wanted to sit back and defend. So what they did was just if they come forward, they cross the ball, they head in, cross and head, cross and head. That was just their tactics. And when they went to go up, they just had only one job to do: sit back and defend, and they did it very well. Congratulations to them. Congratulations to Hull City. The tactics worked. But it is Manchester United who made the tactics work. It is Manchester United who made them look so good. Because if Manchester United had maybe started the game with, let's say, Telemans and Mino, then started the left hand side with Rashford and Sesko as the top nine, this game would have been completely different. Because the wings were not, apart from the fact that the wings were not working, the top nine, there was nobody there. In fact, once the ball gets in there, then it's almost useless because there's nobody there to lash onto the ball. So this is one big mistake Michael Carrick made in this game. Now, you can say, oh, this is just the first game of the season, but momentum is building. You can see Arsenal have just won their game, and other top teams are going to win. So Manchester United will now start playing catch up early. See, there is a reason why a team wins the league. Oh. It is not because you just don't just wake up and win the league. No. If you can just wake up and win the league, then Carrick would have won the league last season. Because since he took over Manchester United are topping the table since Carrick took over. But you don't win the league halfway. You start from the beginning. You start from, yes, there may be hiccups, there may be bad days, but you don't start your bad day from the beginning. No, you start well first. And that is what Manchester United failed to do against Hull City. Okay, look at it in the second half. When they started carrying the ball, when Marcus Rashford was busy doing some dribblings in the left, putting in crosses, even though the Benjamin Sesko was there, but the defense was, you can see that the Hull City defense was so tight. There was no spaces for any of the Manchester United attackers to explore. And Brian Mbeumo, who had the best chance, their keeper was there to save. So Manchester United was completely useless in the game. You see, the Hull City keeper was exceptional in the game, but he has his defense to thank. Because anytime Manchester United come closer to their defense, there were no spaces at all to move the ball. And the people who were supposed to do damage to this defense, the likes of Amad Diallo, who would have come in, was not available. Matheus Cunha had an off day. The two players that I can say they really tried in the first half, I think Patrick Doggo tried his best. In the second half, it was Marcus Rashford and Brian Mbeumo that tried. Bruno Fernandes had an off day, also in the game. Kobe Mino tried when he came on, but you see, you have to have a team cohesion before a team wins a match. You cannot just have like two or three players performing and others are sleeping. Harry Maguire tried, but the problem he has is that his pace. Harry Maguire does not have the pace to track down fast players who are rushing into the box to head. You can see what happened now. The two goal headers. So the Heaven and Harry Maguire's combination did not work at all. And now Carrick have a job to do. You see, when you want to start a game, you don't start a game trying out new things. No. You have time to try out new things. If your team is leading 2-0, 3-0, you cannot confidently try somebody. Maybe, let's say you started with a kind of Telemans and Mino. And in the second half, Manchester United are leading like 2-0, 3-0. Then you can bring in the Andre Santos and try. You cannot just start from the beginning and start trying new things. You can see the tactics they came with. They just had one job to do, defend very well. If Manchester United haven't had those let-off that they scored from, maybe the game would have ended 0-0. So I think pressure is beginning to build up. Now they might have signed Carlos Baleba. Carlos Baleba will walk into this team now because of what happened in this first game. Carlos Baleba will start because this Andre Santos was totally useless in the game. Even the Telemans was also useless in the game. Maybe individually they can be good. Maybe they have not found the right combination. But this game, they were totally in shambles, if you ask me. Then kudos to Marcus Rashford. I think Marcus Rashford has proven that, look, he's still a top player. Look at the way he came in. Look at the dream balls he was doing on the left and putting in balls into the box. If Manchester United had Marcus Rashford in the first half, I believe they would have scored a goal. Seriously, because I think in the first half, we had more energy from especially the likes of Patrick Dogu. We had more energy in the team. And in the second half, before when he came in, some players were already tired. You can see that the Andre Santos will have to be replaced because he was already tired. In fact, he was no longer making tackles in the box. So, yes, you can argue, oh, this is just the first game. You cannot really judge. You will judge now. Manchester United have started playing catch up already. Arsenal just won their first game of the season. Before you know it, they're already 3-4 points clear at the top of the table. This is how it starts. There is no magic in it. Others are starting well, you're not starting well. You'll be in the relegation zone. So Manchester United must go back to the drawing board. They have a lot of work to do after this shambolic display.